A grade school teacher in Ridgetown is part of a push to preserve Lunaapeew. It's an Indigenous language with only a handful of speakers left, almost completely disappearing after a painful history of racism and discrimination. But as our Katerina Georgieva tells us, there's an urgent push to pass it on to a new generation.
Logan, kwakaki kuem chakani shinzo.
In this classroom, made up of mostly Indigenous students, a new generation of Lunaapeew language speakers is born. This is how the people of Delaware Nation in the region hope to keep their language alive, by bringing it into classrooms like this one.
There wouldn't be anything that makes us unique as Delaware people if we don't have our language.
Grade school teacher Kristen Jacobs is part of a group that's been learning the language from Elder Diane Snake in nearby Delaware Nation at Moraviantown. Snake is considered to be among the last first language speakers of Lunaapeew.
Diana's getting older, and we want to make sure we get as much of the language as possible from her.
The goal is to keep the language alive by learning from Snake and passing it on to children. And Jacob's students understand just how precious that is.
I don't want to lose our language. We hardly don't have any more speakers left. And my grandmother's mother spoke it, and my cousin is now speaking it. So I want to learn the language too.
We want to learn how to speak it so we can go into the future and speak and keep going and passing it through.
Culture, basically.
Yeah.
This push to preserve the language started years ago on the reserve because years of residential schools, racism, and discrimination resulted in a significant loss of language. This Delaware Nation counselor says his own mother was a part of those first language programs, though he never learned Lunaapeew himself.
That's what happens to us in our families. A lot of our older people never thought that the language was ever going to be important to us, because being an Indian in those days was not a good thing.
That's why now they're making sure young people understand just how important the language is when it comes to who they are. For Peters, seeing this new generation of speakers is moving.
Oh, it's very emotional, I can tell you that. Kristen has had an impact on so many young people, and we're hoping that impact can continue as we continue to teach language.
Katerina Georgieva, CBC News, Ridgetown.
And Katerina got a chance to learn some Lunaapeew herself, learning from the teacher and her students. Have a look.
So talk me through some of these conversation starters.
Okay, so Kwinganowel is how we greet someone. It's not necessarily hello, it means I'm glad to see you.
Okay, so can you say it and I'll repeat it back?
Kwinganowel.
Kwinganowel. Am I saying that right?
Good. Kwinganowel.
Kwinganowel.
Lawawi Wisakima Apamokwit means grape and wild grape.
Wow.
I mean,
Do you want to try and teach me how to say it?
Lawawi
Lawawi
Wisakim
Wisakim
Apamokwit.
Apamakwit. Did I say that right?
A little.